I've recently been working on a set of naval wargames rules set in the period at the end of the 19th and beginning of the 20th century that will see battleships fighting battleships. I decided to keep the rules as simple as possible and to base them on existing rules. And this video is about, first of all, those rules, and secondly, about the playtest that I ran, which was the Battle of Cape Spatha, which was part of the fictionary Spartan versus Athenian war, naval war of 1890. Now, the rules I used are based on ones I already had written and had published in the Gridded Naval Wargames book that I produced some years ago. And they really have their origins in two sets. The ones that were called Prepare for Ramming and the other, which were called the Portable Naval Wargame Pre-Dreadnoughts rules. But they in turn were based on an earlier set of rules that were produced by a chap called Lieutenant Chamberlain in 1880. His game was called the Game of Naval Blockade, as you can see, was played out on a squared board with islands represented by sort of rectangular shapes that and rocks and so on, and with small ships that fitted within each square. Now, I actually chose for my ship models to use the tokens, the battleship tokens from the game Monopoly, which turned out to be exactly the right size to fit into the grid squares that I used. As to the rules, well, these may be summarized as follows. The ships have a main gun turret forward and aft and two secondary guns on each side. They also carry 4 torpedo tubes that can fire one ahead, one astern, and one on each beam. Each ship starts with a total of 12 flotation points, and these are reduced as damage is caused. During each turn, the ships fire first, then move. And they can move up to 2 grid squares in any turn. If they wish to turn through 45 degrees, they have to move a grid square and then turn, and that turning takes up one of their grid squares of movement. Gun ranges are measured orthogonally, so you go up the line of squares and across and count that total. And the main guns have a range of 9 grid squares, and they actually throw a different number of D6 depending on the range. As you can see, the range bands are 2 grid squares, you throw 3 dice, up to 5 grid squares, 2 dice, and the full 9 squares, 1 dice. And the same with secondary guns, only their ranges are obviously shorter. Torpedoes, they have a range of 3 squares, and they can only go dead ahead, dead astern, or at 90 degrees to the ship. And when they hit, you determine the effect of the damage that they've caused using a D6 dice. If they score a 6 for each hit, it's a major hit, which will certainly lose flotation points and may cause other damage. If it's just a minor hit, they're just going to lose flotation points. And when a ship reaches 0 flotation points, obviously it sinks. Now, I chose to set up a war between 2 mythical modern states based upon Athens and Sparta. And what follows is the background to the war. The action opened when both ships, which were sailing on reciprocal courses, came within sighting range of each other. Once this had happened, it was inevitable that battle would be joined. That concludes the video about my recently written rules and my first playtest of them. I hope you've enjoyed them. If you are interested in reading more about them, you can find more information on my blog, Wargame Miscellany, and I will put a link to it below. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have done, please give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't already done so, please think about subscribing to this channel. In the meantime, enjoy your wargaming and good day.